I see you've brought the entire brief. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I think, we haven't done this in a while. Well, we haven't. Sort of did it last week.
Yeah, we haven't. So we got some cancellations. We got some retirement. Yeah.
Come on.
We got some new schedule, which we've talked about before, but is moving a little bit around as we speak.
Yeah, we're gonna make a couple of additional changes. I'm waiting to hear back
from a couple of shows.
With regards to a couple of shows. The store is actually doing fine.
Oh, yeah. In fact, we had yesterday, somebody brought in a backpack. Will brought in a backpack and a laptop sleeve. I was very impressed.
He did.
It's really nice. Yeah,
yeah, it actually looks pretty
gorgeous.
nice.
Yeah.
Lisa, who they've never seen before. But we are working. We're going to have a new store with a new company. Did I tell you about that?
No.
See, I like to surprise Leo with store stuff. On this
John
show.
C. Dvorak's son also. In fact, I've got to respond to him. Wanted to get involved with that. Let me send you Eric's email.
Well, we actually are going to have.
Or did you talk to him?
No. Is it? No. We're waiting on the offer letter.
Let me send this to you and Glenn because he's interested too.
Well, but we found a store, and you would like this. It's the store that did Obama's merchandise and campaign, and it didn't hurt that we launched the store with what we did because the sales projections from that is the reason why they're willing to talk to us.
Oh, good.
And the really cool thing is chat room, where we want to definitely throw this out to you, is that we're going to do a shirt a month.
Yeah, this was something that who did this? And somebody sent me an email saying, it was really cool. They would do for 1 month only, an exclusive item, and then it would be gone.
Right.
And the idea of doing the other reason to do that is you could also do it kind of like a Kickstarter project where you say, if enough people order this shirt, we'll make it. If you don't, we won't.
We're going through 2 companies.
That solves one of our problems, which is we don't want inventory. We can't afford to have, in the normal, and the reason we did Spreadshirt is because in the normal course of events, you buy 1,000 shirts and then you cross your fingers and hope you sell them. And we can't do that. So
I think
this
you'll be
better.
happy with the merchandise.
So we're going to do that?
Yes.
We'll have a custom thing.
And we just thought we'd surprise you again today with this.
That went so well last time. I'm not surprised you'd want to do that.
Okay,
again.
but this time, we're getting the offer letter, and
Good.
I felt confident about the first one.
That's great.
So we're gonna get the offer letter, and we're gonna actually show it to you before we actually launch it. So I'm actually giving you a little bit of notice today. So I'm hoping to have that next week, and the store is doing really well, and we're working on getting some new designs anyways. So we are going to definitely have some more things. I don't think the cat suit's going to happen. We've got almost $10,000.
I think you've got to win.
So,
but does that mean I guess I have to wear something?
Well, you know what? I think we can make it kind of even. I think we should both have to wear the outfits.
It'd be like,
and we could do a little photo shoot,
like the Fat Avengers.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, you're not fat.
I think I'll look okay in the cat suit.
I know you'll look okay. That was why I tried to trick you into wearing it.
I don't know if I'm going to wear that one that Liz. I don't know, Liz. Do you have that picture? I'm not quite sure if I could pull this one off. Yeah, I'll totally pose with Leo. If he's dressed like a girl, I'll wear the cat suit. Deal.
I have to dress like a girl?
Yeah. Do you remember the bet?
Yeah, I remember.
Pink skirt, heels, wig.
The
entire day you have to wear it on shows.
Jeff doesn't want to see either of us in the outfits, okay?
That's good.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be a funny photo shoot.
Well, and I think that, Glenn Rubenstein here, you should get a chair over here. Glenn Rubenstein, who's here, who's managing community and marketing for us, is going to manage, I think, that process of the design a month, but they're saying we should let the audience get involved in that. I think that's a great idea.
We were thinking about that. If people want to submit.
Not yet, but once we get this thing
Once we get it going
we'll
and we
you
have
know.
the specs,
Right.
we'll let you know what the specs are.
Right.
And, we would like to get the audience participation in helping us pick out our actual outfits.
Yeah.
So, and the design for that month.
We've talked about Glenn before. You remember Glenn from Shut Up and Play, our gaming show and our LAN party, and also he was on our prototype gaming show before that, At the Controls, and he's a great guy, and I've known him for years, and he works for us part-time doing community management and marketing. He's done the TWiT Picks, which is great.
Yeah.
He's doing this T-shirt show. He's doing a lot of stuff. We should probably mention the YouTube thing.
Well, can we go
save
back
that?
to our schedule before we start
Sure.
working on that?
Sure.
But I do want to say that the very first shirt design will be Leo in his dress and me in the cat suit.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like the Fat Avengers.
Somebody in the chat room put
Fat
that
Avengers.
out there,
We
so
could
I
be
think that should
Avengers.
absolutely
I would
be
be
the
Hulk
first one.
or Hawk would be good. I could be
Yeah.
No, you should be Hulk. I'd like to see you all green.
green,
Kind of look like the last time we were on air.
Fat Hulk.
But it's going to be a fantastic deal. We're just waiting on the deal memo. It's going to be the best of both worlds. On one hand, we're going to be able to do the one limited edition shirt a month that the audience will be able to submit designs for, and then we're going to have the back end, which will be the standard TWiT gear stuff with the logos and maybe some of the best of shirt of the months we can retire to the regular store.
Great.
But they're going to handle both.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
And they're TWiT fans, the company.
Oh,
So-
that's even better.
Yes.
So the show schedule.
Yeah, the new schedule is going to start in the first week of July.
July
And
2nd.
we are making a couple of more adjustments, so I'm hoping that next week we can announce those. And at this point, we are rolling out the new shows. We have I-5 starting in July, as well as the new Enterprise show this week in Enterprise Tech, as well as Know How, which will launch on July 5th. There will be possibly a couple of other show announcements. I think I'll hold out till next week with regards to retiring shows. We haven't fully gone over the entire
But the shows
list.
we have, and the reason is we haven't told all the hosts. I shouldn't say that because now all the people who host shows with us are going,
No, we. Hold on. Let me correct Leo. We have talked to all the
Have you?
hosts.
Okay, good.
So we've
It's not a
talked to
surprise.
all the
So
hosts.
if you haven't been talked
So if you're
to,
a host and you haven't
we
heard
haven't
from
canceled your
me,
show.
You're safe.
It's all
and by
good.
the way, for the most part, this is not a surprise to the shows that we're canceling because they just have been struggling for some time. And one of the things we decided to do, and this is kind of the beginning of that, is to iterate faster. So remember when Kevin Rose started Milk, one of the things he said is we want to fail fast. We want to try apps, see if they work. If they don't work, we want to kill them and move on. Now, I don't want to be too hasty because sometimes it takes a while for a show to develop an audience. But we have been very slow to I've been very slow to cancel shows because these are my friends, and that was kind of how the network started. But in order for us to succeed, we have a limited amount of money. We can spend a limited amount of resources of staff. So we cannot just infinitely add shows. In order to add new shows, we have to get rid of the weaklings in the older shows. And so we have made a decision first to cancel, but not these shows are not off the air. They're just off our air. 3 shows that we never owned. We only broadcast their tapings in effect. And that's the PC Perspective podcast that Ryan Shrout does. It's This Week in Science that Dr. Kiki does. And can I mention
Trey's,
the third one?
yes.
Okay. Trey's hard to get a hold of. He lives in New Zealand.
talked
You've
to
talked
Trey.
to him now. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the one I was worried about that we hadn't talked to. So
Right,
Trey's
so was I.
Variety Hour. Those 3 shows were never ours. They were just on our air. Now, we did cancel Dr. Kiki's Science Hour. That's a show that's been struggling for a long time to get advertising and audience. And we talked with Kiki several years ago about canceling it, but we've really been working on it, and it just hasn't taken off. It's not rejection of science, by the way. Some people have said that. Oh, you're killing all the science shows. It isn't that, because we're also canceling Futures in Biotech. That's as much because that show's only been every few weeks anyway. Mark's been very busy. He's got a brand new product in the pipeline and has been spending a lot of time with clinical trials. So Futures in Biotech and Dr. Kiki's Science Hour have been canceled. They will do a few more shows, I think.
Yeah, Dr. Kiki's Science Hour will end. It'll commence at the end of June.
Okay.
So next week will be the last shows for that. Mark Peltier is planning on doing one more Futures in Biotech, but he was trying to target the end of this month, but he's had to move that into July. So we're trying to get the final date for that show scheduled.
So when they say, well, how could you say you haven't canceled science? You don't have any science shows. Well, we will. Give us a chance. But those shows aren't canceled because they are science shows. They're canceled because nobody was watching them. And that's essentially what's going on with all of this. Is if a few thousand people watch a show, and there's one exception to this, which I'll talk about in a little bit. If a few thousand people watch a show, we can't air the show because it does cost us money, even if it's PC Per where they produce it. We still have to have board ops. We still have to run the studio. The lights have to be, everything has to be going on. So it's about $1,000 an hour, period. And then any additional costs. So what this means is we can do another show in its place. And so that's our plan, is to make some room for other shows on the schedule.
Right. And I do want to clarify that, Trey's Variety Hour, Twists, as well as PC Per, these shows will still continue to go on, and they're just not going to be on the TWiT Network anymore. So I just want to make it really clear that we're not canceling these shows. We're just shifting them off of the network.
NSFW not only has a much, much larger audience than This Week in Science and Kiki, but also has ads, usually 2 hours a show. So you're wrong. It actually is doing quite well.
Well, yeah. And so what we're going to do is I'm looking at repositioning the shows that are left in the evening to see if we can put them in a better, not only are we looking at the type of show it is and what makes more sense into where we should broadcast that show, but we're also looking at trying to not have any gaps in our live coverage. So there will be some movement on the evening shows, and how much movement will depend on the host. So Twitch is not canceled. I've seen that a couple of times in the chat room. Unfortunately, we're not able to shift that to be immediately after Know How, which I thought would have been a better position for it.
Yeah, we're sometimes constrained by
the host.
Schedules.
The host schedules also have to allow for that. So we're going to allow for TWiT is another show that
we haven't finished the list. There's there's more. So This Week in Radio Tech has also been canceled.
Yes.
Again, a very small audience, a good show, and I love Kirk, but just a very small audience. He's going to continue to do that as well. He's taking a hiatus this summer because he's traveling a lot, but they plan to bring that back on another network. Unnamed network next week, or next fall, I should say. What else?
So
those are all the shows we're canceling.
Well, and we have that, but I don't know if we want to talk about that just yet.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Well, okay.
Well, she knows about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There is one show, and I said there was an exception. There's one show that has actually a decent audience, about 20,000 viewers, which is, unfortunately, it takes about 50,000 downloads on a regular basis to make a show profitable. But we do have some shows, in fact, quite a few shows that do less than that we're really working on marketing. That's one of the reasons we got Glenn. We're hoping there'll be a number of shows that we can revive and build the audience to. So, folks, subscribe, tell your friends. I mean, if you like a show, the best way to keep a show alive is to tell everybody. There's one show that breaks my heart to cancel, and that's TWiT Photo. That show's doing okay numbers-wise. We cannot get any advertisers for it. We've tried and we've tried. And I think partly it's because there's so many other photo shows, partly because it doesn't really fit our model of a how-to show. It's really much more about the art of photography. I really love doing that show. It really it's hard for me to cancel it, but it's on a primetime slot, and we want to put something else there. And we have 3 shows that we believe will generate a larger audience, will generate advertising revenue, and most importantly, fits our mission. I consider our mission to be help and how-to and tech news. And if it doesn't fit in that, what we found is it doesn't do well. Now, there's another thought I had, and I haven't shared this with you, about why TWiT Photo might not be doing well, is because you can't listen to it.
Well, that's something I discovered when I was out of the studio for a couple of days, that I was listening to it live, and it was a challenge to listen to it live. I had to probably watch it. So
I think that may be something we're going to look at. We do a lot of video, but we always make sure that every show we do is available in audio. And it may be that some shows just don't translate to audio, and that's certainly one that it's all about the pictures.
Yeah, it's a higher video download than an audio.
Yeah, what I suspect is that 20,000 people were able to watch on video, and that was all we were going to get on that. And it was kind of similar with Trey. So that's basically what we feel. Now, This Week in Law is a very small, specialized audience, but first of all, we've got some plans for that show. Denise,
we can talk about those plans.
Denise is going to make it accredited, so it's continuing education credits for lawyers and credit for the law students, and we think that will help the show. We also think that's an important show in terms of explaining some of the very technical legal issues that come up in technology all the time. So we really think that's an important show, even though it is not a huge audience either.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at, I keep seeing people asking about Ham Nation. I'm looking at trying to shift that to Wednesday or Thursday. So.
Yeah, that one's a little struggling also, but there's a whole nother tier, I sound like I'm from Arkansas. There's a whole nother tier of shows that are on the cusp that Glenn, and we've got some plans for really promoting and marketing all of the Twitch shows, and we're hoping promotion, marketing, and frankly, a condensation of the number of shows we do. And we have so many shows, I think it dilutes it a little bit. So we think all of those things will help those shows. We're hopeful anyway.
Some people in the chat had asked about a best of TWiT, and this has been
that's one of the things we're going to do.
That's one of the things in the coming weeks you'll be hearing us showcasing more of our shows on other shows.
Right.
So we're going to try and boost awareness because it breaks all of our hearts when we hear people say, "How come you don't have a show about cord cutting?" And it's like, we have frame rate.
Frame rate,
Right.
but they don't know about it.
But they don't know.
So yeah, one thing that we are adding to the network is it should be launching with next week's TWiT is that we'll have a highlight, probably a minute highlight of 2 or 3 shows on the network that of things that have happened during the week, and when they air, so Leo can actually help cross promote with our other shows and taking a little snippet from those shows, and then we're going to look at how we're going to also distribute other promos throughout other shows, showing what has happened. We also have taken a forward effort, I would say, with promoting us on iTunes, and we can showcase a show a week. So I'm having Glenn help me with that. We've been showcasing a few of them, but as new shows roll out, we want to be in the new and noteworthy, as well as if we have somebody special coming up on particular shows, we want to make sure we cover them. And with the new shows and the new time frames, I'm hoping that all programming is a little bit more on time. And I think with the start times of 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock for marquee shows, it'll be a little more consistent across the network. And that would be for Monday through Friday programming. And then Saturday and Sunday would be, of course, the standard show times.
Let me answer a few questions from the chat room. First of all, a number of you are concerned because you watch live only or you watch YouTube only. We do count those numbers. We count more effectively the downloads, but all numbers are counted. So no matter how you watch, it does matter and it does count. Don't feel like just because you're watching live, we're not counting you. We are.
We're actually rolling out HD video right now, aren't we? Didn't we start our feeds this week? We have 4 shows.
To also answer Lawn Dog, let me just get through these and then we can.
Okay.
I have about 5 questions I just want to respond to. The reason we don't do bi-weekly or monthly shows is because it doesn't work. If a show is not at least weekly, people don't pay attention. It just drops off the face of the map. It needs to be a regular weekly show. In fact, daily seems to be troubling for us as well. We're not able to. I think what happens with daily is it's too much. You download all 5, but you only listen to 1. So weekly is this, as far as we can tell from, and you know, this is what our research is we do this stuff, we try different things, and then we have to be able to move on when it's proven that it doesn't work. And one of the things we know doesn't work is anything but weekly is really the sweet spot, a weekly show.
TNT's doing well. I've gained some traction with that, and I think that that's an exceptional show. The downloads continue to increase and go upward, and they changed their format of the show, and it's going to switch to 10 o'clock, which will hopefully be a really good show time for the East Coast. So we'll see how that continues to keep going.
Social Hour is a little bit of a weak show for us. We're also working on improving that show's audience.
The balance of the existing shows we're planning on either, you know, if they need it, either we're taking a little bit of liberty to promote the show if it's a really solid show, and if it's a show that may need to have a format change, we're also going to be looking at those too.
Yeah, we're going to work on some shows and polish them up a little bit. We don't do audio-only shows only because really the way we do video is we do an audio show and you can watch it. So all the shows video is basically free. It apparently was a mistake to do a show that really required you to watch. That's my guess. All the shows will be HD.
The other thing we're working on is YouTube. If we want to mention at least YouTube at this moment, we're actually going to be setting up a channel for every single show we have on the TWiT Network instead of everything following just under the TWiT channel. And so you can subscribe to just an individual show if that's what you would like to have. And our goal is to also put any cut downs or snippets from every show that makes sense as its own little piece within those channels, and have the TWiT channel be more of the highlights and showcases.
This came from the fact that you can't, unfortunately, subscribe to a playlist. So the way we were doing it, there was one TWiT channel. I like that because you can find this is the TWiT Network, just as like, Geek and Sundry is one channel.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that when you subscribe to every show we do, which is obviously crazy. Nobody wants that.
Shows, yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to do so that you can subscribe to individual shows is each show will have its own YouTube channel. So there'll be a youtube.com/TNT. There'll be and on and on and on. And then we will use youtube.com/TWiT. We'll continue to use that as a channel, but instead of being full shows, it will be a highlights channel. There'll be it'll be short form stuff. Then on that page will be a link to each individual show's channel. The theory being, and this is an experiment, but the theory being, you'll find youtube.com/TWiT. That's the obvious place to look. You'll see there a list of all the shows we do, and you can subscribe to individual shows. We think that's important. But you also, for somebody discovering the channel for the first time, can see short highlights of the best of different shows. So you get a sense of what that show is without having to watch a 2-hour video.
And things like breaking down the news views like people are suggesting, or individual product reviews. I mean, we definitely hear you guys on that. And we've been putting in the work. We should have, I'd probably be ready to roll that out in the coming weeks. But this YouTube change. But we definitely hear you guys on it. And we're working on completely maximizing everything we can do with YouTube.
Right. We are going to cross-promote with our existing shows. There are some shows that, look, trust me, we didn't cancel anything lightly. Trust me, we're canceling the shows that have no future, no hope. We wouldn't be canceling if there were hope. There are now a second tier of shows that we think have hope in a future that we have to prove that they do. And so we are going to very strongly cross-promote those shows and help people discover those shows. But, like any business, if there's a product nobody buys, we're not going to make it. It breaks my heart, but it's, TWiT Photo is a very good example of a show I love doing. We love doing it. We love Catherine, but nobody, we couldn't get anybody to buy it. The live audience, Frank 32, is tiny. So, somebody else said, why don't you start your shows on time? It's a very small audience. Most people, if you want the show to start on time, download it, and you can start it whenever you want it. We try to start shows on time, but because of the nature of production, it's just the technical issues. It takes a little while sometimes to get shows started. That's the way it is.
We're not even selling this week in TWiT. This is just a little update for everyone.
Somebody said, if you canceled this show, you could bring back TWiT Photo. No.
Yeah. Well, and it's not only money. I mean, it's also resources. And we've talked about this. I mean, these are not easy decisions that are being made. I mean, it's really looking at what we think has the best chance and how we can focus the people, to make those shows succeed.
Right.
We didn't make any decisions in a day here. I think Leo and I have been talking about a lot of things for a long time. We've been talking with, hosts as well as people here at this company. It's not something that any one of us would do
we actually
lightly.
agonize about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But we have to do this. We don't have unlimited funds. We are not canceling any of the core shows. I want to point that out. Almost all the shows that we started with are all still here. None of the core shows have been, or do we have any intent in canceling. Those are still our strongest shows. TWiT, Security Now, Windows Weekly, Mac Break Weekly, This Week in Google,
iPad Today,
TNT.
There are newer shows that are very successful.
New shows that have done very well.
Before You Buy is doing well. It's a newer show that just started and launched this year, and it has a really nice audience size. I'd love to see that grow, and I think with the YouTube changes, it should get some traction.
Now, the new shows, and we've mentioned this before, but we'll just go through them real quickly. Ayaz and I are going to do a show called Know How. It will remind you a lot, I think, of Patrick and my segments on the Screensavers, where Patrick would show me how to do something.
Mention the time.
Half hour long. That's going to be...
It's going to be on Thursdays at 3 o'clock, and it starts on July 5th.
3 Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Somebody said prime time. What does that mean? It doesn't mean the same thing it means on broadcast, because we're global, and so everything is, there's no time zone that matters more than any other time zone, but I consider it prime time if it's between 11 and 6, because that's where the bulk of our shows are, or 10 and 6 now once TNT starts. So that's prime time in the sense that we're trying to pack our shows in at the same time, so you kind of know when we're live. Even if it's 4 in the morning where you live, that's prime time, because that's when our shows are live. So yeah, I think Know How at 3 p.m. on Thursday is going to be a very strong show. This Week in Enterprise Tech, I'm not crazy about that time. I think we should look at another time.
I really think it should be not. I really don't like it on a Friday. I think it should be shifted to earlier in the week.
Most people have told us that because it's an IT show that they want it on when they're at work. So we're going to have to look at that time. Right now, we have it scheduled for 3 Pacific on Friday, which is really after work. I think that's a good spot for it.
And that's starting July 20th.
Yeah. That's starting July 20th. When's Know How? It's July
5th for Know How, July 20th for the Enterprise show. We can take a look at that and consider shifting that day.
I have told, by the way, I have told Ayaz that we want to use food in whenever possible for a demo.
Ooh.
No, seriously. We're going to use a lot of household goods.
This. No, and Legos.
And then the final new show, i5 for the iPhone. Sarah Lane, we charged Sarah, we said, we do an iPad show, it's great. We don't do an iPhone show. Can you do an iPhone show? She said yes. She came up with this idea of 5 tips or products or things, i5 for the iPhone weekly, about half an hour. And that'll be 11 to 11:30 on Mondays.
Starting July 16th.
July 16th. So right now the Enterprise show is scheduled for Fridays, but we can consider changing that. We'll have to talk with Robert.
Now, somebody said, why don't you have more small, cheap advertisers? The problem is any advertiser costs us staff time, a lot of staff time to support. So if you came to me and said, hey, I'm going to give you $500 for an ad, that's great. It's nice. It's $500. But A, it's not going to work for you because it's one ad. And B, it's not going to work for us because we still have to, oddly enough, one $500 ad takes us almost as much staff time as a year's worth of ads because we have to pay attention to you and we have to work on copy and we have to teach people about the product, et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't make sense for a small organization like ours to have a lot of small advertisers.
Well, something I am looking at is taking a few of the smaller shows and I'm looking, and I'd like to announce this now, I'm looking for someone to help me with inside sales here at TWiT. I've taken the lead on inside sales here, and we've probably have about 30% of sales in-house as of May 1st, but I need a little help with that. So if you're interested in going into the sales realm, it's going to be a commission-only job. I'm open to full-time, part-time, and independent contractors, preferably somebody who knows technology and at least knows our network would help. I am looking at bundling a few of the shows and possibly selling them a little differently. And once I have the right person in here helping me with this new sales rep position, we'll be able to start packaging those. My goal is to have some traction in third quarter for fourth quarter for some of our other shows and possibly the same ad format or different.
People are asking, do they have to be in the Bay Area or Petaluma for that?
It would be helpful if you're here and you can actually physically be in the space. It would, unless you're such a huge fan and you're into sales and you know what you're doing, I'm open to that too. It's got to be the right person. So that's something we're looking at as well.
Padre is going to be in the Brick House tomorrow to do TWiT.
Oh, fantastic.
Excellent. Well, we'll talk to him then.
You get to see Robert Ballecer, the new host of This Week in Enterprise Tech, tomorrow on TWiT, along with Larry Magid and Ryan Block.
Great.
The reason we do this show, I'm not dispirited.
What?
I am so dispirited.
He's not dispirited.
I'm
you
not
guys,
at all.
this is kind of hard,
the end of my
though.
day. I'm an exhausting day, and it is hard. It's not easy. I don't like doing
it's easy.
The hard stuff.
Yeah.
The worst things in business are firing, and canceling shows is kind of a close second. But we have to do it in order to be a viable business, and we want to keep doing what we're doing. And in order to do that, we have to. It's not a hobby.
It's been a long week, though. I will admit that. I'm not gonna. Yeah. It's been a tough week.
It's but this is, and I have to say, all the hosts get it and they understand. And this is, I haven't been on a show that wasn't canceled. And these are the only shows I've ever done that I've not been canceled.
It's funny. I was talking to a few people that live in LA and they're actually in this world where they're in the production world. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, next project. Right. They have such a different attitude.
Every show I've ever done until I came to TWiT was canceled.
That's the reality.
Or I was canceled.
Well, and our goal is that we want to be, a viable network, and we're going to focus on technology, and I think we're going to get there.
So again, what the plan is to iterate, to try stuff. Somebody said, well, I don't think I'm going to watch i5. You know what? If nobody watches it, it will be gone. It'll be gone in 3 months. So that's really the way it needs to work, which is we get to try stuff. This is a great way to experiment. It is fairly cheap for us to launch a show. It's not like a network where you have to build sets and you have to hire staff.
Right.
We've got a great backbone so that we can launch shows, we can try stuff. We've got a great community. You guys, you let us know very quickly if a show's working or not working. We're very grateful to you. And when a show doesn't work, we need to be ruthless and say, okay, when we tried and it didn't work, it hurts me as much as it hurts everybody because I come up with the ideas for these shows most of the time, and if it doesn't work, it's my failure. I take it personally. It's my failure. So TWiT Photo is a very good example of a show where I feel like we failed in making that show a success. That should be a success, and it's just not. I don't think we're going to try gaming again. We might try game shows, but not gaming. I don't think. Somebody keeps saying Veronica wants to do a show where she's on the air playing games. If she'll do it for free, we'll be glad to talk to her. Or cheap. I'll be glad to talk to her. She's not cheap. She's talent. She's expensive.
Yeah.
Floss is still on Wednesdays. It will be starting at 8:30 in the morning instead of.
I feel bad about that.
Yeah. Well,
They're not real happy
you
about
just
that
reminded me. Yeah, unfortunately, we have a lot of announcements too on Wednesdays, so it becomes an issue anyways. It's going to be interesting once TNT's at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. We have a breaking news.
Yeah.
We might have to shift that show as well.
Well, TNT at least is a news show. That's not such a big deal.
Okay, so they cover the breaking news
Right.
instead of their format
Right.
for that day.
That's
that
not
sounds
such a
good
big
to
deal.
me.
In fact, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
So yeah, we have 3 new shows launching now, and we have a couple of shows that we're considering in September and October. And I'm almost afraid to even mention them.
Yeah,
at
don't
this
say.
point.
But
I think I'll wait on holding.
You've heard us talk about various ideas we have.
Yeah, I
I
think
would
we have
like
two-
to. I
two
think my
decent
goal
ones.
is going forward to do 3 shows a quarter.
That would be nice.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And what we've noticed is about a third of the shows we try stick. So that means that we would get roughly 3 or 4 new strong shows a year, which would be very, very good for us. In fact, there is some concern in general, and I don't know this one, that we have too many shows. And part of the problem is that no one knows all the shows we have. And if we only did 7 shows, then you would know. And it certainly was a problem with Mevio. It's sort of a problem with Revision 3 is that it's just a lot of shows. And so there is a thought that maybe we're doing too many shows. I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about doing an overnight live show here at the Brick House, and we would have a pajama party.
Oh,
When are we going to do that?
We are going to do. Remember the call for helpathon? Some of you from Tech TV.
We have to make it around a launch.
We're going to do a
of
call for
something.
helpathon. Well, one thing we'll do for sure is we'll do it the week after Christmas. That's when we did the call for helpathon.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I want to do
usually
it
when
like in the
take time
summer.
off.
I think it would be fun.
But then we should do a camp out or something in the summer.
I think we should
Maybe
totally
in the
do a
alley.
camp out.
People are asking about maybe doing the occasional
In the alley.
The occasional LAN party. The reason why I think that got kicked off is the ideas is just that Doghouse wanted those systems back.
Yeah, although
don't have
Acer
the
says that we can have some systems, so we might figure out something. We do have a Minecraft server we're going to set up. Chad's going to do a Minecraft show.
Hey, if the new iPhone comes out, can we do another 24 hours of iPhone?
Yeah. I mean, we can do stunts. I like doing stunts. Well, another thing, and I think I've mentioned this also, but one of the things that we were doing that was very expensive that we're probably going to change how we do is these live events like CES and NAB. We spent, how much was CES? A couple $100,000?
CES, not including staff, was over 100,000, about 120,000. And then, well, it's expensive to be in Las Vegas during that time, and the bandwidth and the stage that we had to set up was pretty expensive. So we're looking at a couple of ways of covering CES.
We'll still
can I
cover it. Yeah.
Can I tell them like my idea on that?
Yeah.
Well, what I was thinking was that we could send down a small crew, like a host and a producer, and then just hire people there. And like NAB, where we could go around and an editor would be down there with an editing station, and possibly Tom and Leo or Tom and Sarah could actually anchor here, and they could be talking about everything going on at CES and be able to toss to that footage of who we have at CES. So we can still bring CES back into the TWiT studio and maybe send somebody down for NAB.
We'll do it kind of like
thing.
we do WWDC or any of the other events where we have in-studio coverage and we have people in the field, but not, we were sending 15 people down there, hotel rooms and meals.
Like 30 at
30.
CES. NAB was about 15. But NAB was different. We partnered
it was my
with
unconsidered bright idea. I didn't really think about the cost. I just thought, it'd be really cool. We did it for Tech TV. Wouldn't it be cool to all go down there? And the first year we did it, remember this? I was just bringing everybody down to see CES. It was your reward. And then as we got closer, I thought, we should cover it. And it pretty much turned into coverage.
We covered the first time we went down.
I flew everybody down first class.
Everybody loved that part.
It was just going to be fun.
No, I thought it was great. We covered, we were just like TWiT guerrilla style out at CES. And we were all working probably 18-hour days. But I thought it was phenomenal. A few people were really burned out.
It was fun.
But I thought it was great. It gave us a taste of it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We understand that it's important. It's just we're trying to do stuff we can afford.
So we're coming up with some different ideas as to how we're going to cover the live events because I think they're extremely important, but we could probably do them just as effectively in a smaller scale. So we're looking at that. If you have ideas, email them. Right. I'll look at it. And so that's another change that we're going to be making.
Who funds TWiT?
Leo.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did I hesitate?
It's a personal project of mine. We don't have any investors. We basically are bootstrapped, so it comes out of the money we make. We are profitable. We have always been profitable. This is not an announcement that we are losing money by any means.
We want to just remain
profitable. But we want to remain
profitable.
profitable. Yeah. The economy is not great, and I admit that it has hurt us a little bit. We had a slow quarter in our first quarter. That took us a little bit off guard.
Well, and we've taken a little hit with some engineering and infrastructure setups, things like that.
So $100,000 on a new tech guy website. We spent $100,000 on a TWiT website.
Which I would like to announce, if we can talk about something really new and that's exciting, is that we are going to be in beta on the Tech Guy Labs website on Monday.
Padre SJ has just volunteered a host, producer, and cameraman for CES for us. So, Robert, we're going to have
I'll be in to
a priest
talk to
goes
you
to Vegas.
Tomorrow.
It'll be an exciting new show.
Priest,
I'm
more
going
like
with
a
them.
saint.
I'll be the producer on that one.
The saint.
Yes.
I like it.
I would love to go down with Robert. I think it'd be pretty exciting. I can't see it not being. So the good news is we are ready to go to beta. I don't know if I've told you this yet.
No,
we're going to be ready on
when
Monday.
Is that gonna launch?
Monday. We're going to have our beta.
I thought it was, so I said it on the air today, like only a couple more weeks on the old radio show.
Yeah, so the intent is, my goal is to have it in beta for 2 to 3 weeks. You guys will tell me on how long that should take. And chat mods, we're going to send you the beta site. We only want to open it up to 50 to 100 people when we launch beta.
Sure, whatever.
That's what they were. Lullabot was encouraging 50 to 100 people to play with it. So we'll get the chat mods involved, people at TWiT, and other people that feel that they have something that should be involved in it.
Kevin in Dublin says we should hire Robert Ballister, Padre SJ, full time. I think he's working for somebody else.
I think Robert is not available full time.
I think he has a job.
Yeah, but as much as he's willing to be on our network,
annoy
it's
his
great.
boss. I think that's probably a bad idea.
But how could you annoy his boss? You don't believe in his boss.
I'm not taking any chances.
That's interesting.
I'm not taking any chances. If it's too many shows, how about inserting a coming up next slot? I don't know exactly how that would change things. I saw that suggestion several times.
Well, I think with our highlights, our intent too is we're going to promote other shows. We're going to be running those highlights between shows. So as a producer setting up for another show, if there's nothing really interesting happening, they can run the highlight. We haven't really set up all the rules yet. We would like to keep a few things organic. So we're gonna work on that.
This Week in Eternal Damnation. There's a show we hadn't really considered.
Leo's going to be the star. That sounds like one of his shows.
Oh, come on.
I'm kidding.
5x5 is not a threat. If it were a threat, you would never hear me mention their name at all. So there's plenty of room. Look at I can't remember what the numbers are for television advertising. I think it's $14 billion a year. Yeah. We don't ask for much. 1% of that is all we're looking for. That means there could be 100 other successful IPTV plays, and we'd all be fine. There's plenty of room. Somebody else said, "Is Calacanis hurting you?" I don't think. Are they?
Who?
I don't even know if they're doing shows. No. Initially, my concern was, and there was some cause for that concern, that advertisers might confuse This Week In with TWiT.
Which they have.
And some have, but it's not been a long-term problem.
No, a few people have asked, and then they're like, the shows are like different. I mean, I had a few questions on that.
It's gotten pretty clear, I think, the difference. And I don't, it's not, exactly, a rising tide lifts all boats. In fact, we got to go. In fact, one of the things that I was very happy to see Revision 3 sold to Discovery, because it was a real vote of confidence, but it also showed that there was some belief that IPTV was, I know IPTV is a very good position, but there aren't very many of us. In fact, to my knowledge, we're the largest live IPTV network out there. I don't think anybody's doing live. CNET's not doing live. Revision 3's not doing live. There are a few small ones, obviously.
Certainly the largest dedicated. I don't think. I mean, there are people that broadcast streams across multiple sources, but there's.
Who's that?
My babysitter is
Oh.
at my house.
She's watching?
No, I just said.
Oh, that's you.
That was me texting.
No, and to Monkey Stick's
thought it
point,
was her.
there are people that do live broadcasting, but not that are
teasing
live
you.
24/7 networks like TWiT.
And Monkey Stick, people quote numbers, but there's no validation. There's no. Hey, Joey. What was that? Is that a new show? I hear a lot of numbers bandied about.
But, confidentially, everyone, I won't name names, but people I talk to that do live streaming are saying they can't monetize it.
Right.
So the fact that the TWiT has been so successful in monetizing it, I think we're onto something.
Right. I don't know what it means that David Prager left Revision 3. What do you think that means?
I have no idea. I don't even want to speculate. I would love to get him on TWiT this weekend and find out.
He's one of the founders and probably has a fairly large stake. My guess is he got $4 or $5 million on the sale, and he's going, see ya.
It's possible
what's
it's going in a different direction. Sometimes founders don't want to have to be involved in that.
But what's interesting is normally when there's an acquisition like that, there's a requirement that you stick around.
It's possible they didn't need him.
What we
and
had
he didn't want to stay.
heard, what I'd heard from somebody well placed was, and not who you think, was that the managers got locked in and got well taken care of, but that the founders were less so. And so I suspect what you're going to see is a lot of people who were founders and who got a lot of money out of it are probably just going bye-bye, because what Discovery cared about was not the founders.
They were caring about the content and the people that ran it.
They cared about the people who were running the actual shows, and those are the people who were compensated. But pure speculation. I haven't talked to David. I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to hear what he has to say about it.
Yeah. All right, so we're done.
Yeah.
There are people looking in the window, and that means it's time to run like hell. We thank you. We wanted to do this just to give you a fill in on what's going on, and I appreciate all your feedback. We love watching your chat room's reaction and reading the emails. So, I know this is hard for some of you, and I know that there are shows that we will be missed. We will miss them.
Right.
But this is what happens sometimes, and it's probably going to, I hate to tell you, it's going to continue to happen because we want to launch new shows and kill the shows that aren't doing so well.
And if people have further ideas or feedback, I've been reading everything people send me or tweet at me. You can send me an email, glenn@twit.tv, and I monitor, the Twitter stream, everything else that's out there. I forward stuff along as appropriate. For instance, people have been tweeting at TWiT the past couple of days asking about getting LeVar Burton back as a guest.
We've already been contacted by LeVar Burton,
perfect.
and as I sent to you in the email, which you haven't read yet,
I haven't read it yet.
we're going to book him on iPad Today, which is what
That's
he has to be on.
fantastic because he has a Reading Rainbow app.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. I'll come in tomorrow. I want to talk to Robert.
Oh, hey.
Good. Yeah.
Especially if I gotta talk to you first. What do you think about there?
Yes. That's a much better slot. It needs to. Oh, I forgot. And Chad told me to tell you. mc.twit.tv is the Minecraft server. mc.twit.tv. We do have a Minecraft server.
If he wants to stay on Friday, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just.
I'm really
I
trying to do
think
that.
it's a good point that it should be on during. Yeah, baby.
Nice cat suit. All right, Liz, go ahead and order it.
Yeah. And would you get me a nice gingham number, maybe blue and white check, little apron, petticoat, not too low cut, scoop neck, perhaps. I think that's good. Tasteful. Yeah. You came for this? Do you really?